Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating case study about the hidden traps of a second-level management promotion. We're going to look specifically at the childcare space, but let me tell you, the lessons we are unpacking today absolutely apply to almost anyone stepping into a mid-level or upper management role. I mean, have you ever been promoted because you were just amazing at your job, only to find yourself completely overwhelmed a few months later? Well, you are definitely not alone. We're going to follow the journey of a fictional leader named Emma to uncover exactly why this happens and, more importantly, how to fix it. Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the second promotion trap, then look at the great identity shift. After that, we'll break down 3 major shifts in your daily work: new skills, time allocation, and work values. And finally, we'll leave you with a concrete 6-month action plan. Starting right off with part 1, the second promotion trap. This is what happens when hard work just isn't enough anymore. So picture Emma. She was this highly successful assistant center director. Honestly, she was fantastic. Her educators solved problems independently, the parents absolutely loved her, and her center ran like a well-oiled machine. Naturally, when the center director moved up, Emma got the big promotion. But 6 months into her new role, she hit a massive wall. She was doing absolutely everything herself. Take this one afternoon, for example. Emma noticed these overflowing supply bins. A room leader literally walked right past them. Later, her own assistant director saw the mess and just waited for Emma to return. Finally, completely frustrated, Emma just organized the supplies herself. So what's going on here? Well, Emma realized something terrifying. The center was functioning, sure, but only because she was functioning. She had unknowingly trained her entire team that every single important decision, and even the minor ones like sorting supply bins, belonged entirely to her. She ended up venting to her regional director, complaining that no one was taking any ownership. But her regional director gave her this massive, incredibly harsh wake-up call. They told her, "You aren't building leaders, you're building assistants." Think about that. Every time Emma swooped in and solved a problem, she was actually robbing her team of a learning opportunity. The reality is, managers create employees, but directors absolutely must create managers. Which brings us to section 2, the great identity shift. This is all about how you stop managing people and start managing managers. The contrast here is super important. As an assistant director, Emma's identity was built around the phrase, "I support educators." But to succeed as a center director, she had to add a whole extra layer to that. Her new identity had to become, "I develop leaders who support educators." It sounds like a subtle tweak, but it's a massive shift in how you view your daily purpose. You have to focus entirely on coaching the coaches, rather than just jumping in to help the frontline staff yourself. And this extends to your time horizon too. You have to completely shift from being a reactive firefighter who solves today's operational problems into an architect who builds systems that prevent those problems from happening in the first place. You are no longer responsible for just surviving today. You are responsible for the center's future capability. If someone resigns tomorrow, who is ready to step up? That is your new job. All right, moving into part 3. Shift 1, new skills. Specifically, we're talking about coaching instead of solving. To make this identity shift a reality, Emma had to completely overhaul her weekly leadership meetings. They used to be these grueling 2-hour sessions where her team would just pepper her with questions about staffing or budgets, and she simply dispensed the answers. Nobody left those meetings thinking. They just left waiting for her next command. So instead of answering every single question about staffing or enrollment, Emma started breaking the habit. When someone brought her a problem, she stopped handing them the answer on a silver platter and started throwing the question right back at her leaders. She would simply ask, "What do you recommend?" If they weren't sure, which happened a lot at first, she would prompt them further with, "Okay, well, what options have you considered?" This Socratic approach forces your room leaders and assistant directors to stop waiting for instructions and start exercising their own critical thinking. You are literally forcing them to build the exact muscles they are going to need to lead on their own. And to really align their vision with hers, she would ask things like, "What would success look like?" or "What risks do you see with that approach?" Now, I want to be totally honest with you here. Applying this skill makes meetings painfully slow at first. People are going to be frustrated because they are so used to the drive-through window of easy answers from you. But if you stick with it, it ultimately transforms the culture so that people begin arriving with solutions instead of problems. Section 4, Shift 2, time allocation. It's all about less reacting and way more thinking. Alongside these new skills, you must radically restructure your calendar. Emma had to stop filling her days with classroom observations, break coverages, and minor parent issues, and pivot hard towards strategic planning, community partnerships, and succession planning. When you look at the ideal breakdown of time, it represents a stark wake-up call for anyone trapped in daily operations. A successful center director should be spending nearly a third of their time, literally 30% of their week, exclusively developing their leadership team. That means one-on-ones, mentoring, and coaching. Strategic planning takes up another 20%. And crisis management? That gets reduced down to a mere 5%. Seriously, if you were spending half your day putting out operational fires, you aren't doing the job of a director. You're just doing the job you used to have. Section 5, Shift 3, Work Values. We have to completely redefine what actually matters. Honestly, this is the most difficult transition of all. It isn't just about rearranging your calendar or learning to ask better questions. It's a deep internal shift. It's about changing what you fundamentally value and take pride in as a professional. Instead of valuing fast problem solving and your own operational excellence, Emma had to learn to measure her success by entirely new metrics. She started evaluating her bench strength, asking herself, if I promoted my assistant director tomorrow, would this place still thrive? She realized culture wasn't built by her giving grand motivational speeches, but by the consistent everyday behaviors her leaders modeled. She shifted to long-term thinking, focusing on the next 3 years. And above all, she valued consistency, knowing that every single family was getting an exceptional experience, regardless of which classroom they were in, not just the one she happened to be keeping a close eye on. Because the real test of your leadership isn't what happens when you are in the building, it's what happens when you leave. One Friday, Emma left early for her daughter's school event. Normally, she would have been glued to her phone, stressed out all afternoon. But that exact afternoon, an unexpected licensing inspector arrived. And you know what happened? When Emma returned on Monday, she found out her team had flawlessly handled the inspection, navigated a really complex parent concern, and even reorganized the staffing after 2 sick calls, all completely without her. When she asked her assistant director how things went, the response was simply, "We had it covered." The realization here is profound. The center no longer depended on Emma's physical presence to survive, but rather on the leadership capability she had successfully built. She had essentially made herself operationally obsolete, which, ironically, is exactly where a true leader wants to be. Okay, finally, Section 6, your 6-month action plan. Let's look at a concrete roadmap to building this self-sustaining leadership. We know this doesn't happen overnight. In month 1, your primary goal is to simply stop being the approval point for every single decision. Start those weekly coaching sessions. In month 2, develop hard routines. Make those leadership meetings structured, and actually start doing quarterly talent reviews to look at your leadership pipeline. In month 3, identify your high potential staff and give them real stretch opportunities, like leading a major family event or mentoring a brand new hire. And finally, in months 4 through 6, you strengthen the entire system. Standardize your onboarding and establish leadership scorecards. By following these structured milestones, you systematically transfer ownership away from yourself and embed it permanently into your management team. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought to really reflect on today. Your greatest contribution is no longer your ability to run things perfectly yourself. So ask yourself this defining question to measure whether you are truly multiplying excellence throughout your organization. Is my workplace improving because of me or because of the leadership system we've built? If you can confidently answer the latter, you have successfully mastered the pipeline transition. Keep building those leaders, and I'll catch you in the next one.